Hey again, everybody. Welcome back. I've got another Revit video going on here. This is another three-dimensional presentation type view. It's more of a schematic presentation type view. If you've ever seen schematic diagrams of mechanical equipment or electronic equipment where they have sort of an exploded view of the object where, it's like every single component has been pulled apart with little dashed lines showing how it all goes back together. Usually it's like an isometric view or some 3D view. And it's just like somebody exploded every single piece of this object apart, and almost like you could just put your hands around it and squish it all back together and it would all fit nice and perfect. It's sort of the same type of thing we're looking at here with Revit's Displace Elements tool. I'm just going to put a little disclaimer at the front here. I'm having problems with my version of Revit. I'm not sure. I've tested this a couple of different ways, and I just, for some reason, can't get some functionality of this tool to work properly. It kind of locks me out. I'm not entirely... It doesn't crash the program. It just won't let me do part of what I want it to do. So I'll let you know when I get to that point exactly what the process is or what the problem is. There's not an easy workaround, but there's always some sort of a workaround that you can sort of, it's a bit time consuming and it's a bit finicky, and you have to be really kind of precise with it. And there's not a lot of room for error, but you can make it work if you have to. And if this problem shows up with you on your system, then this is, hopefully you would have figured out how to handle this, but I'll just let you know how I sort of try to handle it when this error pops up. So, without further ado, let's displace and sort of explode our building. So I'm just going to zoom in on it here. So I just have it in a 3D view, and it really doesn't matter what type of 3D view you've got. So I'm just going to duplicate this out, and I'm going to rename it Displaced View. And it doesn't matter which angle you're looking at. It doesn't matter, how you've got this positioned or visual styles or anything. But I can grab this window here, and in the Modify tab, there's this sort of like exploded box-looking icon called Displace Elements. And if you click on that, you get a coordinate system on the selected element or elements. It's sort of one coordinate system, one UCS icon for each of, for like either the whole group or individual items, depending on what you've selected. And grabbing any of these axes arrows, I can actually pull this window, and it doesn't matter. It's only going to go in the axis that I've chosen. So it's only going in this green direction. I can move it in the blue direction. I can move it in the red direction. I'm just going to undo those. You can also, if you see the little sort of triangular or angle shapes here, you can move it in planar directions. So you can move it sort of horizontally, vertically, or in the plan view. So you can move it in two directions at once if you've got that kind of control. I usually don't, because it's hard to move things in a plane when you're in a 3D view. It's just, it doesn't visually work as nicely as you think it would. Once you have the window or object sort of pulled off of the building, you can use the path tool to indicate where that window is coming from. So, and you can see that even as I rotate this around, the window is off the project. Now this only is off the building in this view. It's view specific. If I go to the regular 3D view, the window's still there in the wall. If I go to the first floor plan, the window was the second floor, I think, so the windows are still in the walls. So it's not like it's changing the model, it just kind of looks like it is. Now, to take this one step further, first of all, if you didn't like what you did with it, you can always hit reset, and it will send it back to its original position. Going one step further on this, I can grab this whole wall, and then holding the control key, I can grab the curtain wall here, here, and these two windows. And again, use the Displace Elements tool, pull that whole element off the wall, the whole group, and then using the tab key, I can select just this curtain wall. And now I can explode this curtain wall off of this wall. And just to go even further, I can actually grab this pane of glass, pull that out from the curtain wall, and now I've got like a three-tiered displaced element view. And if I use the path tool on these, it goes back to where it was actually displaced from. So this way I don't have to displace everything individually. I can make some sort of subsets of displacements and to show how things are pulling off the building. So it's a really nice feature or function to have. Now I am going to show you the problem. This is pretty much all I've got for the Displaced Element tool. So the problem I have is if I pull this one window off using Displace Elements again, so I'm just going to grab it and pull it off the wall. There's the edit button here. So beside reset, so if you want to reset things, and I can actually grab this panel and reset it, it actually resets it to its original location, not where it was displaced from. So if you want to reset, then use the tool carefully, because it will actually reset to its original location. So if you've displaced things 2 or 3 times before that, it will go back to the original spot. I just undid there to bring it back out. But this window here that I've displaced from the wall, what if I actually wanted to displace more windows? Well, there's an edit tool here, which when you click it, normally you get a little toolbar that has, add, remove, save, or discard changes. So it's a simple 4-button toolbar that you would normally have popping up. I'm not getting it. And I've tried to open this file in 2019, didn't work. Tried it in 2020, didn't work. I tried to create a new project in 2020 where I literally had 1 wall and 3 windows. Couldn't get it to work. So I'm not sure what the problem is. I've been looking online trying to find a solution, and so far I haven't come across anything. So if any of you guys have a solution, drop me a line, because it would be really beneficial if I could figure out how to make that work again. So the workaround on this is pretty straightforward. If I can't get this to work, I'm just going to Control Z to undo it, and Control Z again to bring it back into the wall, or reset it, your choice. And then I'm going to just make sure you grab everything you want to displace. I mean, it's kind of annoying if I did these 4 and just forgot the 1 to have to reset it and do it all over again, but that's kind of the only option if you don't get that extra toolbar. So it's really frustrating. I'm not sure what the problem or why it's doing it, but again, I'm just going to try it over here. Completely different object. I haven't even touched this one before. So if I pull that off the building, I should be able to select it. Now the edit button's even grayed out, so I can't even do it. But if I click on it and then select it, again, I can pull different elements off, but I can't, remove them or any, like the toolbar just isn't available. So I can't even save these changes. So I can only undo the changes. So it does work in older versions. But even in 2019, I couldn't get this to work. And I know that it has worked in 2019 in the past. I'm virtually positive that I've done this properly on my computer in 2020 in the past. So I'm not sure what the problem is. Just know that if you pull one element off the surface of your building and you decided later that you wanted to pull more of them off, it is a function that should be available. Just for whatever reason on my system, it's not. So this enables you to create some really, really exciting views of a building. You can pull walls off, and you can actually see inside the building. You can see how all the different pieces come together. And again, with the path tool, it really allows you to see how it all goes back together in the end. So I find this a really interesting tool, really helpful when you're creating presentation type drawings, things like that, or sort of technical drawings even. It works really nicely for those as well. So give it a try. See how much fun you can have with your Displaced Elements tool. Just don't get caught trying to displace every single thing in the project, because you probably just don't have time for that. So surgical strike, go get in, displace the element, get out, be done with it. That's ideal. But sometimes it's just fun to displace as much stuff as possible. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.